Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Beautiful Color Conversations. I am Karen Moore. I am the founder of I Am the Color of Beautiful, global spoken word initiative and movement. We are globally defining the standard of color, the standard of beauty for women of color across the globe. And our focus is on eradicating colorism in communities of color across the globe. I'm so excited for our show today. We have a special show today. We're not talking about colorism today. What we're talking about today, it is Father's Day. And today we are talking about daddies and daughters. I know the impact that my dad had on my life. My dad's been gone 34 years, and he was 25 when I was 25 when he passed away. He was just 55 years old when my dad passed, but the impact that he had on my life for those first 25 years still is with me today. And I just wanted to come and bring you guys a special show talking about daddies and daughters. So often we say that boys need their fathers, but girls do too. And our fathers have a great impact on our lives as girls. You know, I always say that the first man to tell you that they love you and really mean it unconditionally is your father. So we're going to bring on some very, very special guests with us today for this special Daddy and Daughters show. So we have with us today, next to me, is my husband, Robin Williams.
Hello, everybody.
Yay! This is going to be interesting. And we have my husband's daughter, Dominique, is here with us today.
Hi.
And I have more family today. I have my cousin Clarence. I'll call him Clarence right now. My cousin Clarence is here with his 4 daughters, Monica, Alicia, Angela, and Christina is joining us from New York. So we're so glad to have you guys here today for Daddy Daughter Day. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great to have you guys here with us today. So we're going to start with some questions, and we're going to start with the daddies. And then I have a special thing I'm going to do at the end for the daughters. You're going to be so excited about it, right? So for the dads, we're going to start with our dads. And so to Randy, that's what the family calls him. What do you like about being a dad?
Well, I became a dad when I was 30 initially, and then 31 when Christina was born. But as far as what I like, it's the responsibility, watching my daughters grow, making sure that they're being taken care of. There's a lot of things that I was doing behind the scenes that they won't even really know about. But it's just making sure that they have a successful life and to develop some type of generational wealth to continue on. So just a whole lot of things. It's hard being a dad, but you do need a complete family. So I can't say I give a lot of credit to my wife because that is a nucleus part of it. I couldn't do it by myself. But by having a wife with a family, I think you'll be just fine.
Great. And so what do you like about being a dad?
Well, one of the things for me being a father, starting out late, probably when I was 27, 28 years old, my first child. But just knowing and seeing when I come home that my kids would jump up and down and see me, and knowing and hearing them saying, "Daddy's home, Daddy's home," expecting certain things from me as soon as I get home to play with them or to just spend some time with them. That's been more gratifying to me, and to also to, even to now as they've gotten older, my children are all grown, that they can still come to me with to talk and to have gratification that I would give them the right words to say as a father. So that's very gratifying to me.
Okay, so we're going to go to the daughters now. What did your father teach you about life? We'll start with Christina. We'll start with the oldest. What did your father teach you about life?
He taught me and my sisters a lot of things. Financial responsibility was always number one. So he taught us to make sure that everything that we wanted to purchase in life, or our dreams we wanted to pursue, to make sure we can afford them successfully. So that was a big lesson that I know that I've carried through to my adulthood, and being able to be a homeowner at 20, I think it was 6. I think 26. So that's something that I credit to the lessons I learned from him, in addition to hard work and a great work ethic that my dad has.
Great. Monica?
Everything that my sister said, I echo everything that she said, and I just have really good memories of growing up in Philly and him teaching us how to ride a bike without training wheels, taking us to the YMCA, but then also just
Lessons I learned from him.
teaching us to not give up. Like anything that we ever did, we had to see it through fruition. So if we started drum lessons or if we started karate, really taught us determination and to always keep going.
Awesome. Angela?
Yeah, kind of just to piggyback off both my sisters, he really taught us to be fiscally responsible. Specifically when you're like start getting ready for retirement when you're in your 20s. So I really credit that to him. And then other things like how to change a tire, so I don't have to rely on AAA all my life.
Right. Alicia?
Yes, professionalism. I come to my dad with professional advice all the time, and just instilling confidence within us. We all 4 of us are confident, and that comes from my father and my mother. So we thank God for that.
That's great. Dominique?
I would say the biggest takeaway is keeping God first in everything. I've watched him stay true to being in the church and praying. He's a praying man. He really is, and that stuck with me the most. And follow my passion. My brothers, you all probably don't know, but we're all like either musicians, we sing or something. But yeah, I've seen my dad do that, and to this day he still plays music and he loves it. So I would say follow your passion and don't do it apart from the Lord.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the dads. Now, what do you feel your role is as a dad?
Yeah, I can go first. I think as a role is to teach, to nourish, to scold, to love, show a sensitive side. A lot of times as fathers, especially Black fathers, we were taught to be strong, never showed a sensitive side, never, waver to, just be that strong person. But there's a sensitive side of us that a lot of times we don't want to show. But as fathers, and when you have children that's growing up and you can talk to them, there's times that you can shed a tear. They can see that and see that you're sensitive to that. One of the things that I can go on because of my daughter, me and their mother, we separated at a certain time. I think when they left, they were 7 years old, went to St. Louis. But the one thing that they always knew that their father was around, and that I could sometimes, most of the times, if I called them on the phone, because I tried to see them as much as I could, traveling and whatever to see them. Most of the time, if I talked to them on the phone, it worked until they got a little older and they realized Dad's words, till he comes, is something different. So, but other than that, that's being that sensitive side and them understanding that's what it's all about.
Great. Randy?
Yeah. Role model, I guess one of the most important things to me is that my dad was there my whole life growing up. And, and he was a role model. He was also my best man in my wedding because he was always there when I had an issue. So from having uncles also, when Karen, you said your dad, Uncle Tony, I had, I think as my mother called him, a six-pack of them. I won't say what she called all. But they were there also, and my dad's brother. So I always had a right of how to be a strong father, what to do. And then when I became a member of Phi Beta Sigma, there were so many brothers that were older than me that have already been through some of the things that I was going to go through, that I can always depend on to give me advice when I become a little bit of nervous of things that I actually know. But the key thing is you have to stay in your children's life.
Yeah.
You have to, whether you're actually there or whether the circumstances don't permit it. I was blessed to have circumstances permit. I've been with my wife married for 31 years, and we've probably been together about 36 years.
Wow.
So, but you always have to be in your children's life, even though when they go on and they do different things, you just have to remain in their life.
That is amazing. Great. Thank you so much. So now, daughters, what did your father teach you about relationships? So we're going to start with Dominique this time.
He's taught me one thing remember hearing all the time: call your Aunt Iris, call your Aunt Iris. I think he's taught me to stay connected with family, because at the end of the day, that's who you have the most, even when you don't have a lot of friends, is stay connected to your family and call them and check in on them. Yeah.
Okay, how about Alicia?
Oh, great. So one of the things that he taught me about relationships, and this isn't just like physical relationships, but just stay connected with your family. Always help out your family, and family is one of the most important things. Even though our family does piss us off sometimes, we still love each other.
Right. Okay, Angela?
I would say definitely have God in your life all the time throughout all relationships you're in, and just really be connected to your family and friends.
Okay, Monica?
I would echo what my dad was talking about in terms of staying present. In all the relationships and in relationship with my dad, he's always been there. So in looking for relationships, look for someone who is going to continually be there for you. I can just remember like that he was always our first father, our Valentine's Day date. He would make sure that we got flowers in addition to mom getting flowers. And he would go out of his way to take us to father-daughter dances. So just looking for someone that's going to put in effort to match your effort.
Great. Christina?
Definitely echoing all the things my sister said, putting God first, making sure to take care of one another, and just space is never an option or a reason not to take care of anyone or look after anyone. Our aunt, my dad's sister, lives in Houston, so regardless of that space, he always checks in on her, making sure that she's okay. And then again, like my sister said, he always taught us that everyone should treat us with respect and be kind.
That's great. So I'm going to ask you guys this. How was dating in the Johnson household? What happened when the boys came to the door?
Well, first they had that pen
I hear you, Dad. I know my dad was, oh my gosh, I didn't even want boys to come to the door. And I would tell them, I said, if he comes in and you're sitting down, you have to stand up and shake his hand. If you don't, you're out of here. You're seriously, my dad, Randy, my dad was something else, man. The dating was not a wonderful experience for me.
Well, with me, I related because they was 800 miles away. I related to their brothers.
Oh yeah, Dominique, I'm sorry.
Dominique didn't. Their brothers was rough, and they didn't play. And I taught them that from jump. Take care of your sister, and even to this day, we try to even though she's in California, well, I still say, hey, okay, come out there, well,
Yeah.
we will come out
Yeah.
there. So,
All right. So now, let's see. Randy, describe your relationship with your father.
Relationship with my dad was great. Um, there were rules. I can remember getting into trouble, and the first thing I would say is, "My dad's going to kill me." And I remember my friends saying, "Well, we got some other issues right now," and I would just say, "My dad's going to kill me," because I knew that there were rules. He taught me right from wrong, even though I did wrong a lot growing up. But there was always consequences. And that helped me along the run as I got older. But having my dad in my life, as I said, he was my best man in my wedding because I could always count on him to go to him with a problem, and he would give me that advice. He worked too hard, 2 jobs, and so he would come home at 9:30 at night. If he came home and it was early, I knew that I did something wrong. So, and he would talk to me about what had happened because he would want to make sure he took off work to take that time to talk to me. So it was a great relationship. Um, and I definitely missed him. He was with me until I turned 39. The day was Black on a Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, and he passed in 1998. But it was a great relationship. It was more or less like a friend because the saying he was my best man, but it was just somebody I could always talk to. And
Yeah.
that's, one of the things that I do remember about my dad. And he would give me advice about staying away from drugs, staying away from drinking, because his dad was an alcoholic, and he was just showing me how when we would drive around South Philly sometimes, as to friends that he had that went down that avenue of alcohol and drugs, and how they're struggling today. So he gave me those examples of folks that just didn't do great things for them in life, and those who were successful. But he had a pretty good network. I went to Overbrook High School, and the I think at that time they had 3 officers there. My dad used to be a police officer, so they would always say something to me. I know you belong in class, don't you? The vice principal was his friend growing up. So he did call my dad one time and told him he didn't like who I was hanging with. So he was definitely instrumental in my life to tell me what you should do and what you should not be
Right. What was your relationship with your father?
well, my father, Josh, he was something else. He was a cool, collective, hardworking man. Um, Loved my mother. They were separated; they never married. But I lived with my father for about up to I was about 15, 14 in Chester because my mother was traveling and singing and everything. So I had to go to school, and my father kept me. I stayed with him with my grandmother, and he was a lot. Our relationship was it was a little different because he was working a lot. Um, until I got in trouble, I decided one day I was going to challenge him, and when you're in your teens, you're trying to challenge your dad. I don't know why we do that, but even my boys did the same thing. So, and one day he just decided, he wasn't going to take it, and got on top of me, and that was it. But my dad was a person that he was also a singer too. He traveled with a quartet and working, but he was stern, loving, fun. Um, he was at my first wedding, and he loved. He never met Dominique. He met my. he knew more of my oldest son Robin, and then Ryan. When Ryan came, it was a baby. But Josh is all over me. Like I said, it's just fun. Silly, stern, and but he taught me how to be the man, and you know, and to he wanted me just to move on, get a job. That's it. Stay sturdy. That's it.
Okay, ladies, describe how you are like your father. Christina?
I am fiscally responsible and I would say cheap, just like my dad. I'm always looking for coupons and discounts. And, I'm like, okay, Home Depot's having a sale. I know we need this. Let's get it while it's on sale. So I would say very, very, very fiscally responsible, like my dad. And I love giving back through community service, like him as well. He is a Sigma and he does Sigma Cares, which is their youth group and focusing on young boys. And I am a member of Zeta Phi Beta and I work with our youth auxiliaries, building up young girls.
Amazing. That's awesome.
I will echo what my sister said. I'm very parsimonious. I will not spend money unless absolutely, positively I have to. Another thing that I'm like my dad has a really high spatial IQ. Whenever we would go on trips, like he would pack the van perfectly so that we fit all the suitcases in the back of the trunk. And I could like play Tetris really well and get things to fit perfectly in a very small space. So just it's a weird quirk that we have in common.
Okay, Angela.
I'm gonna have to say definitely cheap, like I said. I definitely find coupons. Definitely really, but I mean it works in the long run. And then I would definitely say my dad really gives back to the community a lot. With being a member of Sigma, the Sigma Cares, I'm like that too. Part of a lot of nonprofit organizations.
Wow. Okay, great, Alicia.
I'm cheap too, but not that cheap. I'll spend some money. But I guess we're similar like that. And then we have a similar sense of humor. It varies a little bit, but I pick up my humor from my dad.
Great. Dominique?
Lord, as they were saying cheap, I'm like, that ain't my dad. My dad, he can spend some money. He can really spend some money, especially like when we all get together and we just go out. Like if we all come to Philadelphia or something like that, we start shopping. We go to the mall, we start shopping. Get some nice shoes, little outfits. Dad loves getting new ties. He got ties and stuff, ties and socks and stuff. Yeah, Dad, you like to spend a little money. And I would say that I'm like my father, and he's definitely a joy bringer. He loves to laugh all the time. I believe he has a smile on his face, like when I get to talk to him, and yeah, he can, like the Bible says, like you bring light to dark places, and he literally does that. Just when he comes into the room, he can really light up a room, and I hear that a lot out here, and I'm like, y'all got to meet my dad. I literally get that from my dad, like just our joy. And he's so funny, y'all. We crack up. We was cracking up earlier here on the podcast, and then like when we all get together, it's another story. But yeah, I would say his joy and love for life and spending, I guess YOLO. So yeah.
So it sounds like, Randy, we need some fiscal responsibility lessons over here, okay? As soon as possible.
Okay. And this is why she got all these lights and cameras and stuff, because of me spending. That's it. Yeah.
We still need some fiscal responsibility help over here. So Randy, what is your most outstanding accomplishment?
Well,
there's so many, I know, but give us one.
There are many. I would say when I went to college, that was I wasn't headed to college. I was in 17. I was going to sign up for the Army. They needed my mother and father to sign for me. My mother said, no, you'll be 18, sign for yourself. Then I went to Delaware State for a trip. My friend was down there to see brass construction, and I had a little scholarship from serving newspapers. So my parents convinced me to go to college. And I would say that going to an HBCU, even though I went to black public school all my life, I didn't really know about really black history until I went to an HBCU.
Mm.
Yes, I knew February was Black History Month, but it was you had to take a Black History course as a prerequisite. And taking that course was just so uplifting. Just learned so much about how we got here, slave trade, just so many things that just made me look at things a lot differently in life. I don't want to be too political, but from what I took from that was that I had to marry a black woman, period.
Mm.
Be controversial, but on another show we can talk about it.
We'll do that.
And
We will do that.
I can give you a lot of reasons why. But that was one of my biggest accomplishments, coming out of an HBCU, coming back to Philly, meeting Janice, and the rest is history. And having my 4 daughters, and growing up, making things work. Just starting off in a little apartment around the corner from where you are, Karen, on Gardenia Street.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Started there in a 1-bedroom apartment, and I had bought it. And Janice was like, "Well, I want to live in." She's a spender, but she wanted to live in this big old apartment on Sea Line Avenue. I said, "No, we staying here. And this is where we're gonna start off because this is my duplex. I own it, and you got your own garage space."
Awesome.
Where we're gonna start.
That's
so
great.
The biggest accomplishment at a young age was definitely going to an HBCU. It really opened my eyes up.
Wow. I spent my first year at HBCU, and it's a whole different experience. It really is. Greatest accomplishment, or your most outstanding accomplishment.
Right. So first of all, I have to say that I married you.
Right, there you go. That's the right answer.
She's happy now, so I can go
That's
and say
the right
everything
answer.
else and whatever. But as growing up as a musician, and not going to college, but traveling and traveling all over the world and playing for different groups and choirs and everything, to be recognized as a well-known drummer, that was accomplishment for me. Also, that even with my first marriage, to have my children to be around, because they helped me a lot. They gave me some guidance, because as a musician, a lot of times, we're a little wild, gung-ho, and they had to settle me down, in which they did, because once you have one child and then you have 2 more, 3 more, you start realizing there's a lot of mouths that you have to feed, and it's responsibilities. But I was happy that I learned from that, and through that, I learned with this marriage that we have, that what needs to be done, what has to be done, and the love that we have for each other, and then also my love for God, and I think that's one of the main things. Yeah.
Okay, to the daughters, what is your most outstanding accomplishment? We'll start with Christina.
Well, I would say, of course, my education, but for me, it's what my education allowed me to be able to achieve. So I have an MBA in marketing, and that has allowed me to be able to open up the door for other creatives that look like us to be able to have jobs. So whether it's, hiring Black photographers, Black stylists, Black makeup artists for shoots, or just helping other Black businesses with my knowledge about marketing help their businesses. So that's what's most outstanding to me.
Fantastic. Dr. Monica. I don't know if you feel that's your most outstanding or not, but Dr. Monica.
Yes, I graduated with my PhD in counseling psychology and school psychology about a month ago. But I would say that my most outstanding accomplishment was actually getting in to a PhD program because I was able to get into the program right out of undergrad, which is relatively rare. And it's really crazy how that ended up happening, like me being able to even get into the program without having a lot of the privileges that a lot of my classmates have had. So I really attribute that to my parents really pushing me and just the determination that if they said no, then I would just try again. And my dad likes it when I spend other people's money. So getting the full ride didn't hurt either.
Great. How about Angela?
Yeah, I would have to say my biggest accomplishment is getting into graduate school. So in the fall, I'll be going into a doctoral program in clinical health psychology.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. And I think my journey was a little bit different from my sister. I graduated and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So it took me about 3 or 4 years to figure out like, this is what I want to do. But I like that I just didn't give up and I had a lot of perseverance, determination, and I reached my goal. So
awesome. Alicia?
Yeah, so my biggest accomplishment isn't complete yet, but right now I'm working on a HCM or an HR cloud platform that's going out to over 240,000 employees. So it's not done, but that's the biggest accomplishment that I'm working on right now. So we're taking paper-based information and turning it online that's going into a cloud. So transforming the HR experience for employees.
That's great. That is absolutely amazing. You guys are amazing. Dominique.
Hey, that was so cool. You guys are great. I would say my biggest accomplishment is being the first person in my family to graduate from college. And thank you. And actually stepping out on faith to move to California away from family, move to the West Coast, away from everyone. Family didn't know if they were really sure about me doing this. Daddy was worried, always calling. Same thing with mom and brothers and stuff. So yeah, that would be my biggest accomplishment to stand today, that I moved out to the West Coast on my own. And I would say Philly and Midwest is where I, was raised, but out here I really grew up. Out here. So yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. You guys are all amazing. You really are. I'm so proud of all of you. So here's, ladies, where we're going to have a little fun. Now, Dominique, unfortunately, you were on your own.
What?
Because Randy's got 4 daughters here. So, I don't know. You might be a little on your own, but we'll see. So the first question is, what is your dad's favorite color?
Blue.
Oh,
Okay, apparently it's blue. Dominique.
My dad likes earth tones. So can that be qualified as a color?
Oh, okay. Earth tones. Okay, that's
He
good.
likes earth tones.
Okay. What is your dad's favorite food?
Well, he can eat.
I would say barbecue.
Yeah, I was gonna say ribs.
ribs.
Is that right?
Is that right?
Dad, wait, no, Dad. No? Wait, like seafood.
There you go.
What did Randy say? Randy, was that right, ribs?
Yeah, I try not to do much, but I've been on typical anything but peanut butter.
Which of these does your dad prefer to watch?
Wait, I didn't hear you.
Hold on. Let me see. We're having a little bit of static. Hold on. Let me turn this down. Can you hear me better now? Okay. Which of these does your dad prefer to watch? Baseball, football, soccer, golf, or baseball?
Football.
Dominique, you know that.
I want to say basketball and football.
Football, girl. Let me tell you. Okay. Football. Ugh. Okay. What is your dad's favorite TV show?
Law and
Order.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I tell you, my dad watched all the Harry Potter series.
That's not a TV show, though.
I don't know his favorite TV show. What's your favorite TV show, Dad?
Football.
ESPN.
Football. It's football. What's your dad's favorite dessert?
Ooh, ice cream.
Water ice. Water ice. Yes.
Water ice.
I said ice cream. Dad, what's yours?
I don't know.
What's your favorite dessert? What's your
Gee,
favorite dessert, Dominique?
I don't know.
I said ice cream.
Yeah, it might be, but
He's not a real big dessert person, though.
no, I'm not.
Um,
Mm-mm.
Dad, what you
Can
eat?
you tell me the best bedtime story your dad has ever told you? We'll take it one at a time.
I think
Dominique,
I was too young.
first.
I think I was too young.
You're
I
too
don't
young?
remember.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Christina? You got to come off mute.
You gotta go.
Thinking?
I'm still thinking. I'm gonna pass it to Delaware quickly. I'm still
Okay, Delaware.
It was more our mom than our dad. So
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think when we were read bedtime stories, we still lived in Philly, and my dad worked really far away from the house.
Okay.
So we'll be traveling home during during bedtime. But he could talk our ear off at nighttime though. I don't know if it's a story or not.
Well, the stories that I would tell them, it wasn't reading a bedtime. It was like a fictional type of story about fictional characters. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do one more.
Down here.
We'll do one more. Name 3 adjectives to describe your dad. We're going to start with Alicia. 3 adjectives to describe your dad.
Frugal, parsimonious, cheap.
Just
kidding.
Yeah, definitely frugal. I would say
That's funny.
so it gives a lot of hope.
I would say supportive, overprotective,
Right.
and ride or die.
All right. Christina?
I would say strong, definitely frugal. So strong, frugal, and caring.
Awesome. Dominique?
I would say protective, loving, and joyful. I do. I love you, Dad. I love your smile. You're so funny. Okay.
Okay, that's great. Thank you guys so much. I so appreciate you guys being here and doing this for today for Beautiful Color Conversations.
I got something to ask you. What
huh?
about your father? What did you?
Oh, 3 words to describe my father?
Yes.
Strong, loving, supportive. Yeah. My dad was an amazing man. He really was. He really he was very, very, very protective. Like I said, even when we tried to start dating. First of all, he said we couldn't date till we were 17. I think it was 17. And then when guys started coming to the door, it was just a nightmare, man. It was just, one guy came to the door and told my father, he gave my father his nickname. When my father asked him who he was, he said Worm. That was the wrong answer. Worm. Well, needless to say, he didn't get too far. And guys were like really afraid of my dad. Guys were afraid of him. I don't, he was a smaller guy, but very, very powerful. And he had this presence about him that, you just know you did not want to mess with him, and you did not want to mess with his daughters. That's how it was. But he was an amazing, amazing man. And I so miss him. It's been, like I say, it's been 34 years that my dad has been gone. And losing him at 25 was difficult, and I had to grow up for the rest of my adult life. Though I was fortunate that I had men I had uncles. I have amazing uncles. Uncle Gil, while Uncle Gil was here, and Uncle Danny and Uncle Conrad. I had amazing uncles that always looked out for us and were able to guide us to continue to guide us in the things that we needed to do in life. We always had uncles that we could talk to and go to. So that always helped us because we have a very tight knit family. The Warren clan is a pretty tight knit clan. And so we were able to really, my sister and I were able to continue to go through life fairly easy with the male role models that we had in our lives. So that was, that was good for us. That was really good for us. So I'm going to close. If anybody wants to have any give us any information about what you're doing, where people can follow you, if you want to be followed. You may not want to be followed, I don't know, but if there's anything going on, or if you want to follow you, let us know what you're doing and where we can follow you. We're going to start with Christina.
Well, currently I am the marketing manager for a footwear house. And so I oversee all marketing, merchandising, events, all of those things for pastry, which was started by Angela Vanessa Simmons. So I oversee all of the marketing efforts for that. And you can see more about that at Christina Johnson Chalmers. So Christina Johnson like the lotion, and CHALMERS on Instagram.
Awesome. Dr. Monica.
I am a mental health professional, so shameless plug for mental health services and protect Black women at all costs.
Yes. We got to have you back on the show.
Okay.
We got to talk about that. I've been really trying to focus on the mental effects of colorism and the way that we really need to address that. Randy, Clarence.
Which one?
I know that when we're talking about money, we call you Clarence, but when you when it's family, we call you Randy. But however you want to come.
Yeah, I guess my biggest thing I have coming, I was supposed to retire in March, end of March. Because I turned 60 in March. I was going to retire in March. And I celebrated my 40th anniversary being a member of Sigma in March. So March was the month that I was going to retire, but the virus hit. Really couldn't really go anywhere. So I said, well, let me just delay this retirement and just retire sometime at the end of the year. So that's the biggest thing I'm going to do is retire at the end of the year.
Okay. Angela?
Yeah, so in the fall, I'll be starting a doctoral program in clinical health psychology at East Carolina University in Greenville, North Carolina.
Awesome. Alicia?
I'm not sure how much I can share, but if you're a JP Morgan Chase employee, look out at the end of the year for some changes to HR. That's me.
Okay. All right, great. Dominique?
Well, I am a claims analyst. It's not that fun, but yeah, if you want to follow me, you can, my Facebook is Dominic Williams, and then on Instagram it's Dom the Bomb _
All right. And
yeah.
Mr. Williams?
Oh, well, I have new music that's getting ready to come out, and a documentary I'm working on about my mother. New music with me and my wife. We have two different projects. One is with Poetic Soul, that's jazz and soul music and poetry. And then we are working on an inspirational album, RKW2 project, that my oldest son is helped produce, and working on that when he ever gets the time, because he's always but anyway, yeah. And so you can find us on Facebook for Poetic Soul, and look out for the documentary at Robin Williams at Facebook, Robin Williams Senior, and we'll let you know what's going. And sometimes you'll see a pop-up video from Poetic Soul that we do, just to keep things current. So again, I appreciate my wife having this discussion. I think the next time, though, we should have all men for Father's Day.
Okay, thank you very much,
Okay.
Mr. Williams. Very much, Mr. Williams. And also remember, I Am the Color of Beautiful Global Spoken Word Initiative and Movement. You can find us at The Color, COLOUR, of Beautiful.com. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hang on there. I'm going to put you in the studio, and I'll be right back to talk to you while I close out the show. Hold on for me. Bye-bye. Ooh, what am I doing? That was awesome. That was so awesome. Thank you all for joining us today. You'll be able to watch the replay. I'm going to share it all over the place. I think that it was so wonderful to be able to have daddies and daughters. Daddies mean so much to us. Our fathers mean so much to us. And I want you guys to have an incredible, incredible Father's Day, the rest of your day. And I also want to remind you, thecolorofbeautiful.com. You can get I Am the Color of Beautiful t-shirts. I'm not wearing it today, but I Am the Color of Beautiful t-shirts. You'll also find, I'm starting my coaching program next month, and there's some other ebooks and things that you can purchase from the site, as well as find out more information about the initiative. Thank you guys. Be blessed. Have a blessed Father's Day.